Hey guys, today I'm going to demonstrate how I prepare cut bait for catfish, and I'm going to do it with this drum right here. But just so you know, this applies to just about any type of fish you use for live bait, like bluegill, any type of sunfish. If you're in a state where you can use crappie, anything goes. But all the principles I'm going to use in this video apply to this. I'm just going to demonstrate it with this drum. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is cut the fins off of this fish. Now, not everybody does this. This isn't really something you have to do, but it's a lot easier whenever you're preparing this bait. Sometimes the fins can get in the way when you're casting that rig out. They'll get all tangled up. So sometimes it's just better to go ahead and trim them off. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is if I was going to fish this thing whole. Now this is quite a bit bigger. If I was going to use this whole drum, I'd probably be going out there for some absolutely monster catfish or maybe even some gator gar. But for the sake of demonstration, what if I was going to bait this up? Well, I could do this several different ways. One way you can do it is to go behind the dorsal fin right here. I've got my octopus circle hook. This is my favorite circle hook for catfish, favorite catfish hook in general. I'm going to pierce the top of the back right here, clear the hook point, and I would bait it just like that because the back is the toughest part of the fish, and that's going to hold on to the hook pretty well. So what else could I do? My favorite place to go, though, is through the top of the head. So right in front of the dorsal, but kind of behind the gill here. Go right through the top of the head. Again, just skin hook the back like that. The back is very tough. It's going to hold onto the hook really well. But there are other fish, sometimes smaller fish, where I'll do it like this. You can go through the eye. So just run it right through the eye here. Although this, you can see how wide this head is. I wouldn't really do it with this fish. And actually, you can see right there, you could bait it like this, but this fish is kind of big. If you're going, this is an 8/0 octopus circle hook. If I was going to go through the eye, I'd want at least like a 10/0, maybe a 12/0. But that's what I would do with that if I was going through the eye. You could also go through the nostril right here. The nostril is also a solid place to do it because you're hooking it right through the bone, and that bone is going to hold onto the hook really well. So that's how you would do that right there. And then you could also go through the lip. So you could either go through the top of the lip, or you could pinch the bottom here and go through the bottom up through the top. Again, you're going to have to go through that bone, but you could do it just like that. That's going to hold onto the hook really well as well because you're going through the bone of the nose. Also, when I'm fishing a hole, I really like to put a couple of slits right in the gut, right here and here, to kind of just get those blood flowing through the water. That scent's going to be flowing downstream, and hopefully it will attract your catfish to your bait. So what if I'm going to cut it up? Well, I've got to separate the head from the body, and if I'm going to do that on the drum or any other type of bait fish, I'm going to be cutting on this line right here. So pretty much behind the gill, in front of the dorsal fin, right in the meat of the back, behind the pectoral fin right here, and run it all the way down till you get pretty much to the front of the gut pocket. A brief editing note from future Chris: I did try to sharpen my knife prior to filming this video. I clearly didn't really do that great of a job of it. I tried. It's clear that my knife sharpening skills are not that sharp. Go ahead and roast me in the comments, don't care, but just so you guys know, I tried. You gotta get through the back. That bone is pretty tough. Just push it all the way down. That bone is really thick. That and my knife probably could be a bit sharper. So now I've got the head cut off, and right there you can see the guts spilling out. Those beautiful, beautiful guts. It's perfect for the catfish. So if I was going to bait the head up, my favorite place to send it is right through the top of the back, like I demonstrated with the whole fish. You could also go through the eye, the nostril, and then the lip. But what if you're going to use the body section? Well, you could do this a bunch of different ways. If I was going to fish the whole body section, my favorite place to put it is right here in the corner, just like right on that dorsal fin, like right at the tip of the dorsal fin. There we go. And make sure the hook point is clean, because let me tell you guys one tip. You want to make sure that the hook point is free of any scales, because I'm fishing with a really scaly fish right here. Those things are going to get caught on the hook point and that could get between you and getting a really good hook set on that fish. Again, like the whole fish, you could hook this behind the dorsal fin or where the dorsal fin used to be, and that'll work just fine. You can also fillet this thing, so all you would have to do is just run along the spine, take your knife and run along the spine, fillet the entire fish off, and you can fish it the entire thing whole, or you could start cutting it up into little chunks and fish it that way too. But I'm dealing with a really big body here. In all likelihood, I'm going to cut this up into smaller chunks, so here's one way you can do it. You can fish basically a whole section of the body. So what I would do is kind of take some of those scales off. And so then you could fish the whole chunk just like this. And then I will more than likely, you could hook it right here in the corner, or you could go right in the middle. Either way, it's going to work perfectly. This is a really good option if you're fishing for monster fish. But let's say you wanted to make your bait even smaller. What I'll do a lot of time is just use the upper part of the back and then the belly. I will just separate those. And so then I'll take my hook, and just like I have several times at this point, I will run the hook through the corner here, or right in the middle, or down here in the back. Either one of those three are going to work just fine. Now, if I was going to throw out the gut pocket, I would just run the hook right here at the edge of the belly. That belly is pretty tough, the outer skin and the scales are really tough. It's going to hold onto the hook really well. How much of this fish am I going to use for bait? I'm going to use all of it. This drum right here could probably get me, gosh, probably like 10 separate baits, 10 really good baits. I would cut this thing up probably here. Well, actually, I probably cut this out here, and then separate the back and the belly. That's going to give me a solid 5 baits right there. You have a nice chunk of tail right here. That would be 1 bait. I might even, sometimes I'll even split this down the middle, kind of almost like a mini fillet. There's just so many different ways that you can do this fish. Well, if you guys found this video useful, if you did and want to check out other fishing tutorials on my channel, I've got a bunch of them. Here are a couple playlists you can check out. I hope to see you guys over there, and thanks for watching.